My God, yo, what up?
For most of my life, I was just a normal kid. I had some great friends, I had some really enjoyable hobbies, and life was just overall just really fun, and my future looked good too. And then, like many others, COVID and lockdown just ripped that all away from me, and I became a socially anxious, video game addicted teen who really didn't enjoy life that much. But then in the winter of 2022, I discovered something new. I discovered a whole new way of thinking, a whole new way of life that in all really let me discover life for itself. And today I'm going on a nice long hike through the snowy English countryside, just to look back on this period of my life and to document it for myself through this video. And so sit back, relax, and watch as I stumble through the English countryside while telling my story about the winter that I discovered life. And so I set off on what would end up being one of the longest, hardest, but very much most enjoyable and most memorable hikes I've ever been on. So now that I'm out in the fields, I'm just going to talk a bit about who I am. So I'm Sam Millison. I live in Coventry in the UK, and I was born 30 divided by 2 years ago. I'll explain in a little bit why I have to say it like that from YouTube. And this is the second video on my channel because I have just quit my online business recently to go all in on filmmaking, which I just love so much more. And these videos, I'm not creating them to blow up. I'm not creating them to get the material success. I'm creating them for myself because the whole process of creating and making something you're actually proud of is just, it's so beautiful to me. And I just love the whole, not even just the process by itself, but everything in general about creating something that you put yourself into. And I can't even put it into words how much I love doing this compared to something like online business. But anyway, I'm just gonna get on with making some ground now, and then I'll talk to you about who I was before COVID. And you know, one of the things I really love about filmmaking is having the ability to evoke and conjure up emotions and feelings in your viewer. Now, I'm not very good at this at all. I'm still at the beginner stages, but with this video, what I'm trying to do is capture the true length of a hike like this in order to capture how long life actually feels to me, especially at my age. So, unless it's not obvious yet, this video isn't going to be a quick flash of dopamine. It's going to be a journey which, if you appreciate, you will enjoy, and one that will hopefully be worth it at the end. So I was born at approximately 3:23 p.m. on the 17th of April in the year 3009, if you take away 1,000. And I grew up with, I still do have a loving family with no issues in any of that regard. I was good at school, generally always near the top of my class, especially in maths and stuff like that in primary school. And behaviour for the most part, I was a good kid. I remember this one time when I was pretty young, me and my sister were like having ice cream, and our parents gave us like the sauce you put on the ice cream. For some reason, I just like sprayed it all over my sister's hair, and I remember like just holding the bottle over her head, and my parents saying, "No, don't do that." And I just went and did it anyway. I got this like sticky, syrupy, like ice cream sauce, like you get at the ice cream vans, just all over her hair. And I made some pretty good friends in primary school too. We had, I'm gonna have to remember the names now. We had the two Ollies, we had Kai, we had Talon, we had the two other Sams. What else do we have? We had Evan, Joel. There's probably some other people that I was friends with too that were kind of in our circle that I can't even remember right now, but I had a really good group of friends. We would always go out in our like local area, and it's what we called like playing out. I think that's a pretty like UK term. But we just go around our local area and mess around basically. Not delinquents, but you know what I mean, just having fun. I remember we've got this like brook that goes near like through our area. I remember this one boy, Peter, he pushed this other boy, Ollie, into the brook. I can't remember what he was doing, but he was just like looking into the brook, and then Peter just pushes him in, and it was really funny. He kind of got exiled from the group because of that. I remember, another time I fell into like a big bush of nettles and just got absolutely like stung to high hell. And I remember, I went back to Peter's house, and his mum gave me like this, like, I didn't even know what it is, like stinging nettle cream or something like that. Good memories, good times. And we'd also, in the winter months when it's dark straight after school, we'd obviously always play the video games online, always connected like that. Fortnite and Minecraft were the main two. And basically every single break time, especially during the summer when it wasn't really muddy, we would play TIG, and TIG is basically just tag, but for some reason in like my part of the UK we call it TIG. But that was some real like muddy, real like hardcore running. And when I say hardcore, it's like our lunchtime would be an hour long, and I'd say we'd be running, like not just like playing TIG, but like physically running for like 40-30 minutes of that. I'm sure I probably got up to 5k in one lunchtime. It was crazy how much we would run, and that's when I first found my true love for running. And so I joined my school's cross-country team with a few other of my friends, and I just ended up loving it. I'd go training. I'd go running around my local park with my dad. My dad would be on his bike, basically following me, because I was only probably like 9 or 10 at this point, even younger than that, even 8 or 9. And my dad had like a dodgy knee, and so he'd just follow me around on his bike while I'd go running around the park. And I did do a couple of 5Ks at some point when I was still young, and obviously 5K isn't loads now, but it was a lot back then, and I really love running, and I got into some competitions too. And I remember when I was in year 4, and this part is incredibly flooded, when I was in year 4, so I was like, I think it's like 3rd grade or 5th grade, I don't know, in the US and Australia and stuff. I joined the year 6's race. Oh God, no. Yeah, my feet are already wet. I joined the year 6's race, and I think it was like a citywide thing, sheep. And I came 2nd in it, with the kids who were 2 years older, and that was a pretty cool moment for me. And that really just cemented in how much I love running. And oh God, wet feet. This part is absolutely completely flooded. I'm pretty sure that's actually a brook that goes through there. Look, see down there, that's a brook, and it goes through there, passes over the path here. But these boots are fairly waterproof though, to be fair. But and yeah, I did taekwondo too with a few other my friends who went to my school, and I never like joined any competitions with that. I just kind of did it for fun every Saturday morning. And of course, because I'm an English boy, I got into football, like most kids do. And yeah, I'm not great at football, but I'm definitely not bad. And obviously, like basically every kid, I started playing video games. And I think, yeah, as I said before, the main two were Fortnite and Minecraft. And I had this YouTube channel where it was just kind of, I might put some of the videos up on screen now, but it was just like Fortnite montages and funny like Fortnite skits and stuff like that. But it's like, well, obviously I was only like 10 or 11 at the time, really. But I managed to get up to 350 subscribers on it, which I'm pretty proud of. I did kind of grind on it for like 2 years to get to that point. And I think a lot of the subs were just my like alternative accounts, which I'd create just to give myself subs. But yeah, I was pretty proud of getting there. And I really did grind on it for quite a while. Right, there's a fork in the trail here. And I'm pretty certain I'm supposed to go left.
At this point, I hadn't a care in the world. My hike was going well, and I was loving life.
And at this point, life was just great. I was a young kid, just enjoying life as most young kids do. And life was just good. There was nothing to worry about, and my future was set up for me. And I was just happy. But then COVID struck. So today I am on a hike, and I'm going from where I live in the west of Coventry to a little village north called Filmmaker, and I kind of have a general route planned out. I kind of know where I'm going because I know this area a little bit. But all in all, this is more for exploration and just having fun than just trekking, if that makes sense. I'm estimating this is going to be probably above 20 kilometers in total there and back. And so in my plan here, what I'm supposed to say next is that as today, I'm just running as much as I can. Yeah, I didn't expect the ground to be this bad. I was actually going to wear running shoes today, but that turned out to not happen for pretty obvious reasons. I'm barely holding up in walking boots, let alone running shoes.
You know, I really don't appreciate it enough, but the English countryside can be just so beautiful sometimes. It's like everything has life in it and has its own story, like each ditch and fence and hedge and woodland, and no matter where you are, someone else has been there before, and I feel it gives it a deeper sense of life and connection.
Right, I think we are finally turning off this trail. Yep, here we go. Changing directions now. We're on that trail for quite a while there, but oh. We're now going down here. And in the UK, I don't know why I'm calling them trails. I guess it's just for a wider audience, but we've got our whole public footpath system, public right-of-way system basically, and so there's designated routes throughout basically the entire country, which even if it's on private land, like I'm on private land right now, but I'm not trespassing because we have public rights of way. Basically, no matter what, the landowner has to legally let people through on this designated footpath. So I'm not allowed like 2 meters over there. Basically, technically that's illegal. It's not technically illegal, it'd be like a civil matter, but it's really good because we basically just got hiking trails everywhere in the entire country, and it's something I kind of take for granted because I know in especially like America, you guys don't really have much. If you want to go anywhere, you got to drive, and it's like sometimes actually getting to places can be faster on these little trails. Like a little town I went through earlier called Millison's Wood, it's actually faster to get there on trails. I mean, in these conditions it's probably not, but in the summertime it'd be faster to walk through the trails and to go on the roads themselves, which is pretty cool. But I mean, if you live in a big city it doesn't really matter, but yeah.
As I continued on, spirits were high, I was making good ground, and I was just enjoying life.
Just before I started this clip, I said, oh, I know where this is. I can't even remember when it was. I was just here before. There was like alpacas in this field or something like that. Not really, but... In my last year of primary school, year 6, so when I was about 11 years old, the first lockdown in the UK because of COVID started, and this meant basically no school, no seeing my friends, no doing my hobbies like taekwondo, or not really any running anymore. And so I was stuck indoors basically constantly, apart from the walks I go on every now and then with my parents. And so, as always, as every kid did, I went to video games, and I went all in on video games. I started grinding. When I say grinding, I mean grinding. Like, we're talking 12 hours plus per day, every single day, on Fortnite, on my little PS4 in my bedroom. I actually just got it set up in my bedroom. How are we gonna do this while still talking to the camera? I got it set up in my bedroom with I got a TV in my bedroom for Christmas or something like that. And so I was now in my bedroom on a PS4 Pro, which is a bit better for performance than the normal PS4 I originally had.
Epic gamer transition right here.
And I made some friends online. One I kind of knew in real life, called Harvey. And the other one was from like Cardiff or somewhere like that, in Wales. And I'm pretty sure Welsh was his first language. I can't remember if Welsh was his first. I'm pretty sure Welsh was his first language, which is pretty cool. But they were like my Fortnite trio, and that other kid Peter I mentioned earlier, he ended up going to the same school as me, for a bit anyway, and we became like the Fortnite. Shit. Right, and if I pick the right battery, which yes, yeah, which I did, we are back. And yeah, so I made friends with those guys online. They were my like close Fortnite buddies, you know. And after the first lockdown in the UK ended, it was just about, I think it was around about the same time that I was starting secondary school. And there was only one other boy who went to my secondary school who I knew, like from my primary school, if that makes sense. Basically one person who I knew, and everyone else was going to different schools. And that was Peter. And so I just had this like memory of the first day being like incredibly anxious, like going to the gate and there's, I don't know, like 100 other kids there, who obviously it's their first day too in the same year, and me not knowing anyone apart from him. And I remember I eventually found him, but then he went off with some like other boy who was like his cousin or something like that. And I was just alone, and I sat down on this bench with these like other boys, and they like tried to start talking to me, and I just completely ignored them because I just didn't want to talk to anyone, because I just wasn't used to talking to people in real life.
And little did I know that I was about to do the same thing 11-year-old Sam did on that first day of school on that bench. As I climbed over the stile and
I hate doing these one-handed.
Entered into the woods.
Wow, look at that.
I continued on telling my story.
To be fair to myself though, there was this other boy who I tried talking to, but I later found out he was like incredibly autistic, to the point where it's like you can't really communicate with him. And I was just there trying to like talk to him, become friends with him, and he doesn't even have like the mental capability to do that. So there was that. Oh, this trail, man. And yeah, I basically just completely stopped my YouTube at that point, to go all in on Fortnite, to all in grind on Fortnite. I remember every day after school, I would literally speed walk home to get onto my PlayStation faster, just to grind Fortnite more. And actually, to be fair to myself, I got incredibly good at the game. That's not even me trying to be arrogant. There was 2 times with like my trio, the boys, where I was a couple like points in a competition away from winning actual money. And for being on a PS4 and most of the players were on PCs with like higher frame rates and stuff, it was, and I'm not trying to like gas myself up here for my Fortnite skills, but I was pretty impressed at myself for how good I got. But then I was kind of spending my whole life on it.
And when I stopped loudly shouting out my life story, I heard something behind me. And so I turned around and saw what it was and just continued walking.
Yeah, someone behind me. Didn't even notice.
Yeah, so there were just a couple of guys on the trail like 20 meters behind me who I somehow didn't notice. Now, I always hate recording in front of people, and it's a fear I need to get over. And it wasn't made any better by what I had to talk about next, but I knew I had to do it.
And at around this time, it was when I discovered the whole thing about porn and all of that. And I won't go into detail, but we'll just say it got out of control fairly quickly, to the point where I could call it an addiction. With all these things, like, my mental health just kind of went downhill, really. It just really went downhill. Not being able to, or not really having any friends in real life. Just being that video gamer kid, it didn't work well with me. I felt like I was an outsider to like normal social life, and I just felt horrible about myself. By the time I moved into year 8, when I was about 12 or 13 years old, with my chronic onlineness and the addiction that I mentioned earlier, I just kind of felt almost socially, not socially exiled, but just socially like on a not on a different planet, but just like almost like I was in exile from other people, if that makes sense. I felt disconnected, like other people were social and I wasn't, if that makes sense. I'd hear people at school talking about stuff they did outside of school with their friends and having fun and stuff, and I was just thinking, like, having friends outside of school is like, how do you even make friends outside of school? I was just lonely. I would literally get jealous of like the popular kids when they talk about like fun stuff they did. Like I overheard it. And I also eventually lost my drive to go pro in Fortnite. I basically just completely dropped my desire to work on Fortnite and actually to go pro in it. And so all of a sudden I just kind of had no purpose and I was lost. And then because of that, I also lost contact with those Fortnite friends. The last few people who I could kind of talk to about stuff and I could kind of have fun with, I now didn't even really have them at all. I made some, it's what we call like mates in the UK. They're not really your friends, like you wouldn't open up to them or anything like that like you're supposed to do with friends, but you just kind of mess around with them, and they were schoolmates, if that makes sense. I just saw them at school, barely talked to them outside of school really, unless we'd play Fortnite or something like that together. But even then, I remember consciously thinking, like, when we were like in the group, in the circle, if I'd say something, it's almost as if like people just didn't hear me. And I had no social confidence whatsoever because of that. I just felt like I was impossible socially.
We're crossing a motorway here. This is the M6. God bless America.
Oh, Vincent will get that joke. Fucking hell, man. This is, I actually prefer to do this on a bike than on foot. Like, this is crazy. Oh my God. And it's so slippery as well. You fall down here, you are gone. The steps are so steep. Oh my God. This is gonna look so stupid on the camera. It's just like a staircase. But my God, it is absolutely so slippy because of these leaves. If I had a bike, I'd feel safer doing it on a bike. Because on a bike, you just go down it. I mean, that's a pretty big step. Oh. That is a horrid staircase. Okay, maybe I wouldn't prefer to do it on a bike. Oh, wow. You can see far there. Yeah, so those schoolmates, I didn't really feel like I was part of them, and I just almost felt like outside, like orbiting everybody else. And I realized that when I was in primary school, I was kind of like one of the cool kids there. And I mean, I don't think we really had cool kids in our school because it was a really tiny school, but I had that good group of friends, and I wasn't more popular than anyone else, but everyone was popular because we all knew each other and we had that good friend group, if that makes sense. But now it's just like I had no one and I was alone. And I so desperately wanted to have a better social life. I so wanted just like human interaction, if that makes sense, so that I didn't just feel like some sort of nobody. And there was this girl who I'd had a crush on basically since like the very start of like year 7, since I joined secondary school, this blonde girl. And it became, which is kind of weird for me to admit, but the obsession became and you got to realize this is years ago now. Okay, the obsession became so bad. I've got a memory of literally one night I couldn't sleep. I was like, the only word I can use to describe it is like writhing around him in my bed, almost just like yearning for her, I guess. And it was just my complete like social, like I just wasn't with it, if that makes sense. I didn't have any social experience or anything at that point, apart from like when I was in my primary school. But after like you grow up for 3 years, especially in secondary school, it's like that all goes out the back door. But yeah, there was this girl who I became incredibly obsessive for, and we'll talk about that later on actually, because she comes back up. And I still had that addiction that I previously mentioned as well. And I'll be honest, it actually kind of got a decent bit better at this point. But it was still there. I wouldn't call it an addiction at this point anymore, but it was still there, and it was still taking a toll on me, because I still almost felt guilty from it, if that makes sense. And now I just kind of played random video games in my free time that I didn't particularly enjoy. I had no sense of direction or purpose in my life. I wanted things, but I didn't know how or if I could even get them.
With the memory of what I used to be fresh in my mind and my feet now completely sodden, I trekked on.
You know, I've just kind of realised now that all these problems I've had with social awkwardness or anxiety or whatever you want to call it, and these addictions and bad mental health and all this, like, it isn't natural. It is not natural whatsoever. And I don't want to sound like one of those gurus online and everything, but I believe it is the modern lifestyle and all this modern technology. It's like we shouldn't be able to constantly have all our all our like human desires satiated. Like, we shouldn't have our basic human desires to achieve and accomplish things taken away just by like random accomplishments in video games, because that's what happens. It's like, when you play a video game, a lot of the time you're playing it to level up and accomplish things inside the game, and that takes away from your desire to accomplish things in real life, because you already have that fake sense of accomplishment in the game. With things like porn, it satiates your desire for intimacy, but in a really, really unhealthy way, and it's incredibly unnatural. And I believe that all this like modern technology, and technology can be great. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this without technology, but I think indulging in it is where the problem really lies. YouTube Shorts, TikTok, all that. I mean, everybody already knows intuitively that stuff it literally rots your brain, and turns you into a zombie with no attention span. And it's like, stuff like this shouldn't even exist. It is so unhealthy, and this really is like where I believe all first world suffering comes from nowadays. It's just the stupid modern lifestyle.
At this point in my life, I was at the lowest I'd ever been. I had so many desires and goals, yet I didn't do anything for them because I was just barely comfortable enough where I was just barely comfortable enough, hooked into modern comforts.
And so, at the end of year 8, so I was 13 at this point, I had this whole big plan for the summer to join a football team, and I was also switching rooms into like a bigger room. I was switching rooms with my little brother basically, so I was in a bigger room now. My whole plan was like the summer would be really good because I joined a football team. I'd be in this like new bedroom with a new computer and stuff. Because my dad was also buying me a computer at that point, like a proper gaming PC. And so I was like, yeah, this summer's gonna be great. I'm gonna have all this new stuff. I'm gonna join a football team. I'm gonna have a social life. Summer's gonna be sick. What ends up happening is I moved rooms pretty late into the summer because we needed like a good weather window basically to paint. And I just didn't join a football team. I just didn't get around to it. I didn't get around to taking action on it. And that kind of ended up being a bit of a failure. But then September comes and it's a new school year. And this is 2022 here. We're talking, and I'm 13 here. And I get into working out in my bedroom. My dad's always been into like lifting weights and all that kind of stuff ever since he was my age. Like he used to go to the gym, he used to take creatine and kind of, I don't know if it was bodybuilding or what, but I knew he was into that kind of stuff when he was younger, and I'm grateful he was, because that allowed me access to lots of weights. I mean, I've got a bench press in my room right now, but I had access to a bench press, I had access to all sorts of weights. Didn't have to buy any of it, just got it for free off my dad, which is pretty cool. And so, yeah, I started working out in my room. I also started taking cold showers just because I saw some random like thing on Instagram, I was saying it, and I was like, you know what, let's just try it. And for some reason for me, like the cold, it isn't even like that painful or hard. I know for a lot of people, like the cold and doing cold showers and stuff, it can be really, really uncomfortable. For me, I just find it fine. And I feel great afterwards anyway. And so I started doing cold showers every day, doing like 10 minutes in the cold. And yeah, life was going pretty good. I was focused on working out and everything was going really nicely now. This one day, I was in my maths lesson, and where does this path go? I need to find where this path goes, hang on, give me a minute. But I was in my maths lesson and I was just talking to this boy who I kind of become friends with a little bit. And I was talking too much and the teacher told me to stop talking, but I carried on talking. And so he moved me to the back next to these two girls. But we'll just call one blonde and the other brunette. So the blonde one, she was, this is gonna sound horrible, but she was the one who I'd had that like obsessive crush over for absolutely ages. And because I was so like socially autistic, I just didn't do anything about it to tell her. This isn't the path. I don't know if I can get through here. I'll try. And the brunette is basically just her best friend. So I've moved next to them. I can't remember which one was next to me or whatever, but I remember they start talking to me and I was so confused like why they were talking to me, because I was just some low status loser. Well, not loser necessarily, but I wasn't particularly social with anyone. I was just kind of like a background character, a little NPC kind of person. And so I was genuinely confused. I was like, why are they actually trying to talk to me? But I don't even know what we talked about or anything, but I know I ended up not fumbling it, and I gave one of them my number on like a little scrap piece of paper. And then I went home that day and started playing my my video game. It was called DayZ. It's kind of like Rust, like some sort of stuff. It's like Rust, but like more hardcore, if that makes sense. And yeah, I was just playing that game, and I was just overthinking like, when's she gonna message me? When's she gonna message me? Did I write my number down wrong? And so eventually I just looked back through like all the old group chats I was in, and I found one I was in with her. So I got a number from that, and so I gave her my number and then managed to message her first. But yeah, then I don't even know what, I had the chats on my old phone, I might put them up, but we just started talking about random stuff. Eventually, me and the two other girls created like a group chat together. But it wasn't anything like flirty, it was just like, they were just giving me attention for some reason, and I didn't understand it whatsoever. But it was like, it was attention from not just people, but from girls. And so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna take it all. Yeah, I can see the footpath sign over there. So we have gone pretty wrong, and yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get through there. We'll figure it out. But yeah, they were just sending me selfies and random stuff, and I was just like so confused by the attention, and it kind of got to a point where it's like I just kind of wanted to avoid them more, if that makes sense. Like, oh, there's not a bridge there, but I'm not getting over that. And I remember literally, I was like playing my DayZ, the game, and oh, can we get down through there? I think we might have to. That's dangerous though. Alright, I'll have to get freezing cold hands, put my hands down on the snow. Ah, oh, wet bum. Great. But yeah, it basically just got to a point where I didn't even really want to talk to them anymore. I just wanted to play my game. No, I got a wet toe. It was just because, I don't know, I wanted to avoid like messing up, or I don't know. But yeah, eventually we just carry on talking on this group chat, just texting like loads and loads every single day, and I still don't know why they wanted to talk to me and wanted to like make me their friend. But I was just so confused about it, but I went along with it. And eventually what ended up happening is the brunette girl, I told her that I basically liked the blonde girl, and she was like, oh my god, ask her out and everything. And so I ended up, I was walking home with her one day, the blonde girl, just me and her. And eventually I did it in this like stupid like game way, where I told her that I liked someone at school, but I didn't tell her it was her, if that makes sense. And I made her play almost like guess who for who it was. And then eventually I told her that it was her. But yeah, I just did it in such a strange way. But I mean, I did tell her that I liked her. And then she said, I think she said yes. It was something along the lines of yes. I don't think it was a direct yes. But I was over the moon. I was absolutely over the moon about it. It was like, I was completely devoid of social interaction and friends, basically. And then all of a sudden, I asked this girl who I'd basically been obsessive over for years, all of a sudden, she said she likes me back. And I was just like, what the hell? How has this happened to me? I'm incredibly lucky, and that's what I thought.
And all of a sudden, I went from the lowest low to what felt like the highest high. I had a new purpose, which was working out. I had a new girlfriend, and I thought I was set, but little did I know, this was just the start of life's great plan for me.
And so we continued just to text. We didn't even really talk that much in real life, apart from like walking home and stuff. Like I barely talked to her or the brunette girl in school, really, unless we were like walking home together. But then after like a week or so, I don't know how long it was specifically, I managed to arrange a date with her. And I don't actually know if there's going to be people in here because it's an old castle ruin thing. I think it's just an old like mound of a castle, or castle site. I don't think it's an actual castle. It's just the old site of the castle, but yeah, that's where a castle once was. That's the old moat hole. Yeah. But yeah, eventually we agreed to meet to go for a walk around our local park, and to be fair to myself, I didn't even feel that awkward while I was there with her. I felt fairly comfortable. But yeah, I don't even, again, I can't remember what we talked about or anything, or any of the details. I just remember we were like walking really, really fast for some reason. Like we were basically speed walking to the point where I started sweating because we were all walking that fast. And yeah, and then I remember she also, like, we were there for like hours or something like that. And then she eventually said that, oh my God, look how far I just slid. Oh shit. But I remember she just said, oh yeah, I've got to go, and so I basically followed at home, or as far as I could, until she said, okay, go a different way now, because I don't want you to follow me home. But for as first dates go, at that age, I don't think it actually went too badly.
And as I approached what was near the furthest point of my hike,
There you go, old castle here.
I was on a high, appreciating the old castle ruins and all the stories and history they hold, and thinking back to what really was the beginning of my journey.
Old castle, walls and ruins, probably 1,000 years old. I don't know if that's true or not, I just made that up. You don't get stuff like this in America, do you, Vincent?
I was feeling true enjoyment in this moment.
Oh, look at this. Old pillar or something of a castle. I'm gonna try and climb up it. Seems this is the way up, but it looks pretty sketchy.
And so I climbed up the castle
I'm not going any higher. I'm just gonna stand on it.
and appreciated my high points.
But no, I think we could go higher. Use my rock climbing skills. If I slip now, my legs are fucked. Yeah, let's get down. That's too sketchy. Because if I slip there, then I'm bashing my knees and I'm dying.
And I perceived everything to be going just fine.
But yeah, basically we go on that date, and oh yeah, I got her this, like, it was like her birthday, like a couple of days before, and so I went to shop before the date. I don't like calling it a date because it was just a walk around the park. But yeah, I got this like £1 bag of Haribos for her birthday. And I swear she said she doesn't even like Haribos or something like that when I gave it to her. But yeah, I mean, it didn't go too badly. But then I was just like, after that, messaging her, just trying to arrange like another date to go out. Because the brunette girl, her best friend, said I've got to like properly, officially ask her out to be my girlfriend and everything. But eventually what happened was, after, I don't even know, maybe 1-2 weeks, I think it was around that kind of time frame, of trying to set up dates, and she was saying, oh yeah, I can do that time then. When it comes to it, she was like, oh no, sorry, I'm busy. I remember I messaged the brunette girl being like, do you think she's just like cancelling for some reason, like not wanting to go? Then eventually she just sent me a message saying that she doesn't want to date me. And I took that incredibly hard, and incredibly badly. I was crying, like genuinely full crying for days, and days after that. Oh wow, there's a cool little waterfall here. I don't know if it's natural or not. It's all brown. That'll be from the snow melt probably. But yeah, I just sent her like a really long, cringy response message. And I think she tried to do it in a way which is like really nice to me. But it basically, the way she told me, it didn't let me move on. I'm not like blaming this on her, but because I don't know how to put it, but the way she worded it and the way the brunette girl was speaking to me, it was like they still gave me hope that there could be something in the future, and so I stayed giving them attention. And I mean, we carried on texting in that group chat between us for like absolutely ages, months and months and months. But I was absolutely like, I don't want to say heartbroken, but it kind of felt like that at the time.
And before I even had chance to enjoy it, it was all taken away from me in an instant. My new life was gone. Or was it?
This whole experience was my first ever experience in talking to girls and relationships and all this. And at the time, I really wished that it wasn't this way and that it was different and that she had stayed with me. You could probably see that coming. And at the time, I literally could not stop thinking about her. I thought that like having a girlfriend and everything would just solve all my problems, that I'd be so much happier. My God, I am going to die going down this. Some things you just want to fly down on a bike. I don't want to slide down there. And so yeah, I thought that she would just solve all my problems, like having her in my life. And there was something that that brunette girl said to me that really stuck with me, and it's kind of, I'm not annoyed that it was her that said it to me, if that makes sense, but it was actually a really, really good quote that she said, and it's actually stuck with me ever since, and it's probably my favourite quote. And the first time I ever heard about it, or first time I ever really thought about it, was when she told me about it, and it goes, everything happens for a reason. And obviously at the time I didn't truly deeply understand that. I was like, yeah, sure, okay, this could mean something else happens because she doesn't want me. I didn't really understand it at the time, but now I look back, and honestly, it is completely right, because that did happen for a reason. Because what ended up happening is I found and discovered the whole world of self-improvement. There was this guy called Hamza, you might have heard of him. Basically, just your classic self-improvement YouTuber preaching all the good habits and everything like that. Like, cut out all the junk in your life and just do the good stuff, basically, the healthy stuff. But just the way he spoke kind of resonated with me, like his stories, it really related to how I felt and everything. And so I became a follower of his. And all in all, it really was a positive benefit to me. And it really, really did help me grow, because, I mean, I was already working out and doing my cold showers and everything. But with this newfound guidance of his videos and everything like that, I started like meditating and journaling, and my mind became so much clearer. And in general, over time, I stopped playing games and watching Netflix and stuff like that. And eventually, there was one day I literally switched the TV, like the TV stand in my room, for a bench press, because I didn't use it anymore, really. And I swapped it for a bench press to work out in my room easier. And all this was something new for me to vent on. It was something new for me to work on. All right, we're going downhill again. There's some animal here that's really outdoing me in how easy it gets down these trails. But especially working out, I remember journaling in one of my first ever journals, because I read back through them quite a lot. And that was the only time I actually truly feel happy, is when I'm working out, which is a good and a bad thing, is what I said. And it was true. The only times I did feel happy was when I was working out or improving myself like this, and all the emotions built up from this girl not liking me anymore. It really allowed me to vent it out into self-improvement and making myself better. My God, how am I supposed to cross that?
Even my workouts couldn't save you from both falling over and having to do what I was about to do.
I felt like coming a mile away. I'm freezing. Oh, sugar. I need to get across here. My God, look at this. I can physically jump that, but I don't know if I want to or not. Oh my God. What is there supposed to be a bridge here? There's fences here, there's a path there. I mean, I can jump that and maybe jump the next bit. I don't think I'm jumping this. All right, the story is going on hold for a bit. I need to get across here. My golly gosh. Even if I got onto this little bit in the middle, I don't know if I can get over to the next bit right. I can jump this easy. I don't know if I'll be able to land it, but I can jump it easy. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I landed it. My God, okay, no, I can't do this. And I don't know if I can get back or not, I might be stuck. Shit, man, I don't want to do it. But I know I have to. Like, if I could land there, then yeah, but I'm gonna throw the GoPro.
And now that I'd thrown the GoPro, I was fully committed to making this jump.
Okay, I know you can still hear me right. Oh shit, why did I throw the GoPro, idiot? Oh, my dad told me not to go near any bodies of water, and here I am jumping a big one. 3, 2, oh my God, I almost just fell in. Shit, oh, I don't like this. Okay, I'm doing it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, that was easy. What was I thinking? Oh my God. The GoPro's gonna be freezing now, the battery's gonna die. Oh my god, man. Why? That was so easy, but why did I do it?
This newfound self-improvement, it really allowed me to vent all this built-up emotion into something, and I started feeling happier. I mean, summer started coming around, because that all happened in like winter time really, when I discovered this, and that was how I discovered life in winter. And as summer started coming around, I started feeling a lot better about myself. I slowly, very slowly started to get over this girl. There was one time, it was this, it's called like the DOV, we got it in like UK schools, where basically you just go hiking with your school in the countryside and go camping over for a night. But you got to go to these like after school club things to train for it basically. We were doing like these CPR dummies, and there was this like boy in like the year above, and there was nothing like tangible or obvious I could see, but I could just I don't know, I could just tell about them that there was like that they were dating or something. And this was only like a couple of weeks after she had said she didn't want to date anyone. What she specifically told me was she didn't want to date anyone, but I kind of like saw this, and there wasn't any like tangible evidence, if that makes sense, but you just kind of like pick up on that stuff, you know, especially if I was so sensitive to it.
Yeah, basically what literally happened was I just like speed walked out of there, basically just left straight away. And this guy I was kind of friends with. He's probably like not my best friend, but the most good friend, if that makes sense. He just like followed me out and caught me up and just asked me if everything was okay. And I just told him, yeah, I might message you later about it. And so later, I did eventually message him about it, and I told him everything. And that night we stayed up till like 1 AM just messaging. Or when we were on a call, I can't remember, but we were just talking. And eventually we agreed to go out, because we both rode bikes. I just started riding bikes and he had too. And so we agreed to start like riding bikes together. And so the next year we went out on bikes, and all in all we just became good friends. Right? Yeah, it's up here. And so I started mountain biking more, and we became good friends through biking. And it was almost like kind of us versus the world in a sense, because we were both like on self-improvement and all this, and everyone else wasn't, and they were all the losers. But yeah, we definitely became really, really good friends, and that was a great part of it, and that really allowed us to like improve together so much more. And life, all in all, it was just so great. And yeah, all this self-improvement continued all throughout this spring, and in I think around June time it was, I saw Hamza, the guy I was following, saying that it'd be a good idea just to start a YouTube channel, just documenting your life and who you are and everything like that. And so all this like self-improvement kind of stuff, this continued all throughout the spring and into the summer. And I think it was about June time, me and my friend, I finally got him to start running. We got running at our local park, and so it was like routine for us, like twice or 3 times a week to go running together at this park. And obviously I was like miles ahead of him, because I never had gained weight, and I'm not trying to put him down here, but he was on his weight loss journey, if that makes sense. And so I was basically just training him with running. And so I call him up and I say, let's go running today. And so he gets to the park first, because he's like right by it. And then I come and I see him sitting down on this bench, and he's watching this like, it was some random guy dressed up in a big rabbit costume. We were pretty sure it was a paedophile, but we went and investigated that. They were messing around with like these 3 girls who are about our age, and so we go and investigate that basically. And I can't even remember what happened. We've got videos of it, but yeah, after that we just sit back down on the bench and I tell him, because I told him I've got something to tell him, and I told him I want to start a YouTube channel.
This video isn't my best work at all. It's too long and I waffle too much, and there's too many problems to even list. I've spent the past month working on it and it's nowhere near what I want it to be, yet somehow I'm still really happy with it. And that's because I've enjoyed the journey of creating this, and instead of obsessing over making the most best perfect video, I've simply let be the imperfections that I can't fix. And I think that's a lesson I'm learning while being a filmmaker, that you have to embrace the process instead of obsessing over the most perfect result. And it's beautiful, because failures and imperfections are what make a journey a journey. The reason I wanted to make this video in the first place was so that when I'm 100 years old and wanting to remember my youth, I can look back at this video and remember. And so surely the imperfections in my creating of this video will be part of that memory too. I do want to improve, and I am going to. I just have to remember, it's not all about being the best.
I'm actually feeling like I'm hitting a physical limit, which is pretty nice, but also pretty scary at the same time. So I literally did not sleep last night, because I was just planning out this video, and right now, I'll be honest, I feel like I'm on the brink of exhaustion almost. I'm about to come down here to rest and have my food. I've got some fruit in my bag which should help me get home, but this is physically, and I'm not trying to big myself up, this is physically probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, this walk, and I haven't slept in over 24 hours, which only makes it harder. That's probably the hardest part of why I've got so tired. And also I did that 17k run, which I still didn't fully recover from. But right now my whole judgment and everything is just weird. But honestly, like, I'm happy here. I'm so much happier here than if I was at home just doing nothing all day. That's just because I absolutely love doing stuff like this. Like these videos, like editing it together to create something really, really beautiful that I'm actually proud of. It's just the best thing in the world for me, and I'm so glad to have this. This video here is going to be the first or the second, I don't know if the first video counts, in a series just catching up with my whole life up until the present point now, just documenting it and everything like that. And so this is basically episode 1/2, and so in the next video I'm gonna hopefully be going on to starting up YouTube and everything like that. But yeah, right now I don't know how much more I'm gonna talk, but I just need to focus on getting myself home. I can get a lift from my mum and everything if I really need to, but I'm making it my mission to get home by myself. But I'm just out of it, bro. I feel like I don't know, I just feel so strange. The longest I've never slept for it was 33 hours. It was, yeah, when I was going to Japan for this like school thing, and I just didn't sleep for the entire. I woke up at like 5 AM my time, and went to bed at like midnight Japan time. But obviously it's like we traveled around the whole world at that point, and I didn't sleep on the planes at all because I ate dodgy plane food. But yeah, I might show some bloopers now or whatever. I don't know how this video is going to turn out. I feel like it's gone pretty badly, but I think something I'm learning now is just not to care about perfection and not to care about making things the best way. And yeah, I can actually tell myself now I'm talking weirdly, but yeah, I just need to get back in it, and yeah.
Down the bottom there if you're looking for it.
Is it?
Yeah, the footpath runs on the bottom.
Oh, does it? I thought it was that gate there.
Sorry?
I thought it was that gate there.
That gate, that footpath along the top of the field.
Oh, so it's down here?
Yeah, that's it. That gate,
Yeah, alright. Okay, thanks.
All right.
Just got walked back to Cooley Moors and I feel out of it. I'm back here again. I feel out of it, man. I don't even know how to describe it. I'm just not in reality. I don't know. I'm on the bridle way. Back to it, and honestly it's not been hard to get here at all. I've just kind of done it, not even thought about it. So I don't want to credit myself for pushing through because it's just kind of happened to me. I'm actually kind of enjoying it. I'm looking forward to getting home obviously, but this isn't as bad a walk home as I thought it would be. I'm just trekking through it and it's actually enjoyable. And that is deep, and that is not a nice colour there.
So, Sam from the next day here. I've just slept for 14 hours. I went to bed a bit before 8 PM last night and I just woke up at 10 AM and I'm still not fully recovered. I'm so sore. It actually kills like my heels to walk. And my whole lower back and some weird muscle in my upper back is sore too. But and I've got a really sore throat and I'm a bit ill. But that's what you get when you push yourself, and I'm proud of done it.
And I was just getting the butt right there, and I had to put my bottle down, so there's a little, you can tell there's a bottle mark in there. It's heavy footprint. So yeah. Then it comes this way, it's gonna look a little bit weird, but by the time, oh shit, oh wow, how did I catch myself there? Oh my god, man. Oh, my knee is hurting though. Probably because it's so cold and I've just flexed it like mad. Like, we shouldn't, there's someone there, I hate recording in front of people. We shouldn't have to like, got a feeling I just got posted on someone's story. I could get a running jump and jump that easily, but I don't want to slip right at the end and fall into the freezing water, because then that is certain death. I'm joking, it's not. We've got emergency services, but right. You don't want to call them. Okay.